All right, welcome back here to YouTube, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about Major League Soccer, MLS, the season getting ready to start up soon here in the spring. And one thing I wanted to talk about is another MLS team has decided to rebrand itself, change its badge, change its colors, and really change its identity going forward, which is something that it happens a lot in Major League Soccer, and I just wanted to bring it up today. I wanted to talk about that and the ridiculousness of the continued changing and rebranding of teams in MLS. Now, full disclosure, I've written for a number of websites, magazines, even on MLS and MLS teams over the years. Grew up in the U.S. And followed Major League Soccer for quite a long time. And even just a few years ago here in the UK, I had a radio segment on Yorkshire Radio, in which every week, every Monday, we talked MLS. We talked about the latest news and different things going on in Major League Soccer. And unfortunately, since that kind of we stopped doing that in maybe I guess it was 2017. I've really fallen away from following Major League Soccer from week to week. It was something fun to do. Really interested in the teams and the games. But I'm gonna be honest. The continued expansion and dilution of the league with more teams and more players who are not always the greatest, and the the league, the playoff system format in which the regular season is neutered. It's made not as exciting or interesting. You don't need to really watch it to follow along. Those are all reasons I've kind of just fallen out of interest of Major League Soccer over the last few years. But things like this, things like teams rebranding, that really sparks my interest once more, because this is something that, again, like I said, we see it from time to time in Major League Soccer. Two teams will have a rebrand this season, and I was actually going to do a video about uh, all the rebrands that have happened in recent years. We've seen the Chicago Fire last year; they rebranded. Houston Dynamo are also rebranding this year with a few slight tweaks, different badge, keeping the same colors, but a slight change of name. But the one where I really want to focus on is Montreal Impact, because no longer are they the Montreal Impact; they are Club de Foot Montreal now, and it's a name that has sparked a lot of derisions, divided fan base. The Montreal fan base it was not excited about this. This happened. The announcement of the name change and the rebrand just came about in the middle of January, so the middle of the off season, and they just kind of sprung it on everybody. And it was something that, like I say, the Montreal Ultras have not supported this. They were against this when it was announced, and an online petition quickly went up after the announcement, or just before the announcement, I guess it was, trying to get people to sign against this happening, and they quickly got 200. They quickly got 2,200 signatures on that petition. So there's a lot of people against this idea, against the rebrand, and I think that would be with any team in Major League Soccer. The only thing is that a lot of these clubs in the league just don't care, because a lot of those hardcore fans who are against the rebrands, against the change of identity, those hardcore fans are a minute group. I've said it a million times before on the radio shows that I used to do and podcasts about Major League Soccer. MLS is a league with a very small group of hardcore fans and a large group of casual fans who can take it or leave it. Anytime I've been to a Major League Soccer game, it has been amongst a group of very casual fans who are just there for entertainment a lot of the time. Maybe they'll come to a handful of games during the season. Maybe they'll come to one, but it's the investment in interest isn't necessarily there as it would be, say, with an NFL game, in an NBA game, a Major League Baseball game, something else. It's more of just entertainment that fans are into. And I wrote about that in my book, Soccer Travels, which can be found on Amazon. But I wrote about that from a game that I went to, now seems like a long time ago, which was in 2007, just before David Beckham arrived in Major League Soccer. I wrote about the casualness and how fans were just going to the game just because it was something to do, not necessarily because they were that interested in the game, in the soccer, in the team. So anyway, back to Montreal. So Montreal have changed their logo, changed their name, changed their colors. They have gone from Montreal Impact, which again was a name that was recognized around Montreal, around North American soccer for years. And so as you can see there, we have the two logos that the team, with two badges. Logos is the term that it just seems like MLS keeps using in everything that I've read. The two badges that the club have used over the years. So in 2005, Montreal Impact, long before it being in Major League Soccer, known as Impact de Montreal, and using this initial logo here, which is a fine logo, but to me it screams North American kids soccer. And then once they were not promoted, but once they became a franchise in Major League Soccer, because Major League Soccer, as we know, does not use promotion and relegation, they went on to adopt this, which I think was one of the nicest looking badges Major League Soccer had. It was a gorgeous badge with a fleur-de-lis, the 4 stars, I believe, from their successes from playing in the United Soccer League and from the leagues prior to Major League Soccer. And then you had the lovely black and blue stripes, which would be part of one of the kits that the team would wear from year to year. And I loved these badges. I thought, well, not necessarily that original one from 2005, 2011, but I loved that badge that Montreal wore from when they joined Major League Soccer. Now, they've only played, 8, 9 seasons in Major League Soccer, but now we have the new badge, which was unveiled, like I said, back in January. But again, so we go back to the original badge, which again, like I say, is a fantastic looking one. It harkens on the history of the club. It shows off just what you get, and it looks to me like something you would get from Ligue 1, or any league necessarily in Europe. But we go on to this season's badge. So now we have the new rebranded Club de Foot Montreal badge. So Impact is gone. We've changed the design. We've changed really lots of this. Not just the badge, we've changed the colors. Montreal is now going with a color combination of what is called Impact Black, Ice Silver, and Sacre Bleu. So this is, just again something that we see in American sports, or we see a lot in MLS teams trying to carve out an identity, but very much feeling artificial because they chop and change things so quickly. They're so happy, it seems like, to go to advertising agencies and be like, well, what should we do to grow fans, to draw fans? And one of the things is, and this is kind of off topic, but one of the things is you always see teams changing things such as this, the things that fans are going to see. But what fans really want are winning teams. They want to see their team winning games. And in my opinion, in Major League Soccer, we see teams go too often, too quickly to rebranding, changing something that the fans is not going to make a big impact on the fans, no pun intended, when the fans actually just want to see good soccer on the pitch and a team that wins and to win trophies. Now, so as you can see here, we got the new badge, and it features, now this comes directly from sportslogos.net, and I'm sure they got their information from Montreal Impact or Major League Soccer's website. And they say the new badge features a stylized snowflake made up of several M's for Montreal in silver, as well as arrows pointing inwards. This is placed within a black circle trimmed in blue. The team's new name circles the design with a pair of fleur-de-lis on either side. Based on the club's new website, the team will likely be referred to as CF Montreal. Now, we're seeing so many of Major League Soccer teams, every time that they're mentioned, you have to either say FC team, Team FC, or now CF team. So it's getting a bit ridiculous how every Major League Soccer team wants to be referred to as football club, because they're so hungry to diversify themselves and to say, look, we're a soccer team. We're not an American football team. Or they want to use the FC to identify themselves in connection with teams from Europe. So, I think it's getting a little bit out of hand with this. Now, like I said, there's always, it seems like, an advertising agency behind a lot of this, behind a lot of these changes. One of the funny things was when This was announced on Major League Soccer's Facebook page, and I was reading through the comments, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Why is it that teams in Europe or in South America have the same badge for hundreds of years, but MLS, after a couple of years, they're so happy to change, or the teams in MLS are so happy to change their badge?" And of course, I go back to it's all about growing fan interest. Rather than give you a great product on the pitch, we're going to chop and change these designs and sell more kits. I've talked about in the shirt videos that you can find in the playlist here on the YouTube page. One of the things is the shirts that MLS sell are so expensive. I was looking at actually a New York Red Bull shirt yesterday, and it was something like $120 US, and I was just amazed. Again, because of different factors, fans are priced out of shirts, and if you don't have a unique shirt from year to year, what's the reason to buy one? Why do I don't have $120 every season to necessarily spend on a shirt that very much looks the same? So this, the idea, let's change a badge every few years. And then once we change the badge, we'll sell a few more shirts. I mean, how many people if fans are allowed at the Montreal games, how many fans on that first game are going to have these brand new shirts? They're going to make a lot of money just off of fans wanting to get that brand new shirt just because of that brand new badge and the brand new colors. And I've seen the kits. I'm going to show you them here in a second. They're not that special. The new kits aren't. So I find it a bit silly when we chop and change, or when MLS chops and changes with their teams. And to me, it's just a marketing ploy. Now, one of the things about teams in Canada and the US that I find to be a bit ridiculous, and I find this whether you're down in the lower minor leagues, if you will, of North American soccer, excluding Mexico, and all the way up to the top. And that is every time that there's a badge redesign, or there's anything to do with a badge tweak or anything like that, there's always a story around it. There's a reason for this, which I find really silly because you don't get that from a lot of teams elsewhere. It's like they have to justify what they've done. The marketing agency who comes up with it has to justify this is why we've done that. Now, I find some of this stuff to be very silly that this has come up with. So the blue circle with the black one around it, according to what I've read, the reason this has happened, or the reason that they've used those circles around there, is because Montreal is an island, and it signifies that Montreal is an island. Okay. The arrows, as you can see, the arrows that go inward, this refers to Montreal's metro system, their underground metro system. Okay. The M's that make the snowflake, as you can see, there are the four M's that make the snowflake. Those are obviously for Montreal, and they form the snowflake, which actually it kind of looks all right, it kind of looks cool. But the idea that these arrows, that you take these arrows and you have them pointing inwards, represents the metro system. What does that have to do with football? What does that have to do with anything? And if you don't know anything about Montreal, if you don't know anything about this badge, if you haven't read about any of these elements that they've put in and what they signify, then you wouldn't get any of this. You wouldn't understand any of that. If you're not looking hard enough, you wouldn't even notice that that snowflake is made by four M's, which but this, like I said, this is something that a lot of teams in the US and Canada do. They try to justify what they do with their badges. And a lot of times I think they come up with something and then they come up with the narrative around it of why they did it. Now, a quote from Montreal Chief Executive Kevin Gilmore. He came out after the debut, the release, the launch of this, saying, "In order to keep on growing and progressing, we are making an important change. This transformation is inspired by the culture of our city, its people, as well as the history of our club and our support in Montreal, to lead us into an even brighter future." Okay, fair enough. That's the company line there. Now, do I like this logo? Do I like this badge? It looks okay. It looks good. But the thing is, I know what their previous badge was, and I actually really like that one more. Obviously, in a year, in 18 months, in 2 years, nobody's going to remember this badge change. And that's the thing about these rebrands with Major League Soccer teams is all that the clubs have to do is sustain that storm that they get from the hardcore fans, that initial storm for the first few months, and it's over. And then they'll be selling these shirts. They'll be moving on to the future. Now, I don't think this looks like a bad badge at all. I think it looks really nice. But again, I just don't think it was as nice as the previous one. And to be honest, I now that they've come up with this, they've launched this, and they've got some new kits. I'd actually like to get one of their older kits. That was the what I would call the Nerazzurri kit, the blue and black striped, like you would see Inter Milan or Atalanta wear. So I might have to get one of those in my kit collection and show that off. But again, an unnecessary change in my opinion. Now, I've had a look at the kits. The kits have been launched. And as you can see there, this just comes from the great website footyheadlines.com, which is a great website to get information on kits and to see some sneak previews when they've been launched. And so you can see the badge there on the shirt. And looking at it on the shirt, it actually looks like a mess. You can't really pick out what it is. You can't tell what it is there on the player's chest. It looks really silly. It looks like a mess compared to the other one, which you could see very well. The shirts are boring. These obviously one of the things about Major League Soccer, when you have a new team, an expansion team, or a team that rebrands, their kits typically look very boring in that next season. So I don't think these look very good. This is that black color that they've rebranded to the Impact Black. Impact Black, Ice Silver, and Sacre Blue. So they've gone away from the black, blue, and white that they were using. And so we've got more silver. We've got kind of a deeper, more glacier blue, if you will. But again, it just looks boring. It looks like any team could wear this color or wear this shirt or this kit. And I think if you were a fan, if you were a fan of the Montreal Impact, whether you're a hardcore or a casual fan, you should be disappointed and upset with this. It's just a very poor change and a very poor kit. And again, that badge is you can't even tell what it is in this picture on his chest. So imagine players out on the pitch. You can't even tell what it is out there. It just looks like a mess. A bunch of different symbols is all I can see. I can just see those stupid arrows. Okay, so real quickly, I talk about these reasons why teams in Major League Soccer rebrand, and of course, one of them is the fact to just draw fans in, to get people to come out and to get some headlines. And so, one of the things I decided to look at, I was curious to see where Montreal Impact stand in attendance. And so, obviously, the 2020 season didn't actually happen. Teams weren't allowed to play at home. They all went to they were able to play at home, but fans weren't really able to attend games. So I thought, well, let's look at the 2019 Mls Attendance when teams were able to have full or they could have capacity crowds come out. So I went to the great website Soccer Stadium Digest to look this up, and so I went to the 2019 season, and I'm just scrolling through this. And as you can see, during that year, Atlanta United, they had the best season average, 52,000 fans. So that's them. Atlanta and Seattle are two of the caveats of teams drawing extremely well in Major League Soccer. But you can still see a lot of these other teams drawing over 20,000 fans, which is amazing for a sport that is the fifth most popular sport in America. Sorry, Major League Soccer and soccer in general, but it is, despite what everybody else says. But if you scroll through and you're looking for Montreal Impact, you're going to find them at 19. So 16,171 fans on average per season. And if you look at the previous season, so the 2018 season right there, it was down. And so we were seeing Montreal that season, the 2019 season, they were in the bottom six teams of the bottom 5 or 6 teams of attendance, and they've rebranded. So they've changed that. So the idea, in my mind, conspiracy theory here, it's not even a conspiracy theory, it's to me, it's logic that they're going to rebrand, they're going to change things to try to drive those attendances up to get people in. Last season, Thierry Henry was brought in as coach. I don't know what the impact, the pun there, pun intended, was around the city with Thierry Henry there, but again, it was another poor season. So they invested into a well-known coach, yet were unable to do anything on the pitch for the most part. And if you look at number 20 there, not Dallas, Houston Dynamo, we've seen Houston Dynamo also rebrand this year, and we'll cover that maybe in another video coming up as we focus a little bit more on Major League Soccer. So they've just rebranded as well. So they were 20th in 2019 in attendance. Columbus Crew, who actually won the 2020 MLS Cup, they're a team that has always, or for the most part, drawn poorly, and they've had issues with that. There was even the idea of the team relocating. You can see that they increased from 2018 to 2019 in attendance, in their average attendance. Scroll down to number 24, Chicago Fire. That's a team who rebranded in 2020, which we can go over that in another future video, ridiculously rebranding and changing the identity completely of that club in hopes to drawing more fans. Again, going away from the things that fans actually want. Fans don't want new updated badges or identity changes. Fans want winning. That's simple. And in Major League Soccer, it doesn't seem like the people who run clubs, the owners, they get that. Maybe teams like Seattle, Atlanta, those are the clubs that really get the idea that, winning is what draws fans. Nobody wants to see a losing team. And changing your badge and your kit is not going to alter that. You don't see, for example, in the Premier League, you don't see a team struggling from year to year in the Premier League, fighting relegation. Burnley, for example, they're not out there changing their badge every so often. Burnley has a very small pocket of fans to draw from. Burnley's a very small place, just north of Manchester, and they've got a finite group of fans that they're going to get to support them, and they're not going to get a lot of people to support them, if any, outside of the area. So but they're not rebranding, they're not changing things, they're trying to win games and trying to do their best to achieve goals and to draw fans out to games. So anyhow, I digress on this topic. Montreal Impact changing their badge. We've gone from this gorgeous badge, which was very identifiable in my opinion, something that you could definitely see on the chest of players, and we've gone to this mix of geometric shapes that is very difficult to make out when you're looking at a picture of it right in front of you. So guys, let me know what you think of the new Montreal rebrand, the badge change, and these new kits. These kits that I think are actually boring, and a badge that I think, looking at it on the players, on the shirt, is hard to decipher. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Was this a good rebrand? Does the new badge look good? And what your thoughts are on it? And let me know what you think of Montreal going forward. Also, please, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the things I do here. I didn't get a shirt video out this week. We've just come off a football shirt February, so it took a week off of doing a shirt video. Got pretty busy this last week, so we'll be doing one going forward next week. And I'm going to touch on more of these rebrands that Major League Soccer teams have done, because it's something that is, I won't say important, but it's something that really stands out to me as unnecessary for the most part. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, and we'll look at some more football from the Premier League and other places. So guys, like, subscribe, and comment below, and I will see you next time here on my YouTube channel.